Hey crafty folks and soapy folks, this is Kevin with Divinely Designed, and I have a mixed media photo layout video for today. I actually didn't film the making of this mixed media layout, so I thought I would just do a short video just to kind of go over it. I'm calling this one is titled The Key to My Heart. And I thought I would just sort of walk through exactly what I did. I started off with a 12 by 12 piece of pattern paper, and then I used some Tim Holtz tissue paper and sort of just tore it up into strips and used some Prima clear gesso to adhere those strips in kind of random patterns, and you can kind of see it in the background kind of here. Just, tore it up, put some gesso down, laid the tissue on top of it, and then covered the tissue with gesso itself. And that gave me a nice tissue paper covered background. I then used some gelatos, and I used them kind of in the red family, except around the edge I used some brown. So I used kind of brown around the edge, then kind of a dark red, sort of a pink, a lighter pink, and then the lightest pink in the center, and then used a sort of damp paper towel to sort of blend them all together. I really like the effect that came out. It kept the center very light, and kind of kept the edges kind of darker. And after I did that and covered the background with those gelatos, I used some, I actually didn't use embossing paste this time. I used this is some golden heavy gel, semi-gloss, and you can see it here is a nice heart that I used with this, and these butterflies kind of up in the corner here are also using that gel. Now the gel itself is clear, but what I used to color it was some Pearl X powdered pigments. So I just added some of those to the the gel, and then just mixed them up together. And this one is a lighter color. This one was a darker color. Let's see. This one here I think is called Flamingo Pink, and this one over here is called Blue Russet. I also used the Pearl X powders down here. This is some Blue Fern Studios chipboard. I have a whole bunch of chipboard on here. So the key and kind of the heart-shaped lock, along with these other heart pieces kind of all over, as well as the sentiment itself, are all Blue Fern Studio chipboard. And for this one, the key and the lock, I used the gold color down here, which is called Aztec Gold, and this one is called Antique Copper. And for that, I just used some Perfect Medium and applied it to the chipboard to make it sticky, and then took a brush, and you sort of just dip the brush into the powdered pigments and kind of brush them and rub them on there. And it gives a nice shine to it for that key and that lock itself. I did various hearts that I just used the chipboard and painted it with some red acrylic paint. These hearts here kind of in the background are actually fun foam that has a sticky back to it, and again I used some gelatos, and this was actually pretty fun. I just took some gelatos and I used kind of a dark gray, and it comes in a sheet, the fun foam comes in a sheet, and I just traced a heart shape on the fun foam with sort of this dark gray, and then in the middle I added a red, and in the very center I added kind of a pink, and then I used the blending tool to just sort of blend them together, and you get this kind of cool soft look with them. So I made a bunch of them and just sort of stuck them on here. I really like the way they came out. They look pretty cool, and they're very three-dimensional on the piece of paper itself. Oh, I forgot to mention also, you can see back here I did use this gel medium here, this semi-gloss, to do some squiggles kind of on the side, and I used this tool just a scraper and kind of dragged it through to create some waves and some texture behind it. After that, I used, I took my photograph and I just mounted it on a couple of pieces of paper that I sort of turned to the side. I added a little bit of lace on the back here to these pictures. And to the lace, as well as the paper flowers that go around the edge, I colored them using some sprays. So I have Heidi Swap's Pink, Lindy's Stamp Gang Peony Scarlet Red, and Delusion's Cherry Pie. The Heidi Swap Pink has a really nice shimmer to it. That's sort of on the outside here, and then I used the Cherry Pie in the middle of these to give them kind of darker. The Cherry Pie is the kind of much redder one here, and then the Lindy's Stamp Gang is the one that has more purple in it. There's a couple of them, but it has more of a purple tinge to it. I used some 3-in-1 glue to stick the flowers down, and oh, and for this, the sentiment itself, I used some embossing. I actually started embossing on a couple of the chipboard pieces, but I ended up not liking how they looked. And I had them kind of in coppers and some platinum, some sort of metallics. But I just ended up not really loving how they looked all together. So I just ended up painting them all red. And that was good. I mean, I actually like this sort of monochromatic look that's going with this page here. The sentiment, the key to my heart, is actually embossed with some Zing. I think it's called Hot Pink. No, wait. I think it's called Grapefruit is what it's called actually, and just embossed that to for the title. And after I was all done, I adhered my pattern paper to just a piece of red 12 by 12 just to give it a little bit more strength to it, and covered the whole thing in a matte acrylic, a matte polyurethane spray, just to, so that when you touch it, nothing comes off. Oh, and I think actually before I did that, I took a wink of Stella pen and I covered the hearts with some glitter. So the little three-dimensional hearts, I don't know if you can see that there. Move it around here. But they have some glitter on them. And I think that's it. This picture is me and my mom many years ago when, gosh, I don't know, I probably was, maybe 10 or so. So this picture's probably, I don't know, maybe 30, 35 years old or something. But this is just a picture of me and my mom when we were being silly one day, and it's a selfie before selfies were known as selfies. So it just I found it and it makes me smile. So that's it. Okay, so comments, questions, leave them below. If you I'm sorry. I keep remembering. I always forget to talk about this. I really like how this there's some dimension here, like around the hearts. You can see the shading that happens, and I always forget to talk about this. But I use some Faber-Castell big brush pens, and these are super great. I have them. I don't have a lot of them, but I have them kind of in the brown family, and I find that this works really great for some shading. They are actually India ink, and I think for this one I think this is the one I used the most on this particular page. This one has a funny name. It's Caput Mortem is the name, but these are all in the brown family. So this is like raw umber and walnut brown. This one's dark sepia. And this one's nougat, and then I have a black one too. But they're great for shading. They're actually India ink, and if you put them, if you just put them, this is just regular paper, and if you just put them on here, it's just like a marker, you know, and it dries really quickly. But if you put them on a like a glossy surface or a non-porous surface, let me see here. This is just, I don't know if this is a glossy. That's not glossy. Let's see here. Yeah, this isn't glossy. Well, if you have a non-porous surface, like if you take gesso and add it to your 12 by 12 piece of paper, you can actually put this on and then use your finger to rub it and kind of lighten it. Or, like in this case with some of the chipboards, I actually used a, let's see here, what did I use? This here. Fantastics, which I just sort of cut off the end on. And these just have like a firm foam sort of pencil to them. And I moistened it a little bit and then sort of dragged it around the edge after I added the color with it. And it gives a nice shading to things. Again, lets you use some sort of shadow and shading to it that just gives a lot of depth to stuff. So I added it to all of the hearts. I outlined all the hearts and the butterflies. Sometimes I actually use it for the edge of the papers. It works really well there. This one I mainly used a brown gelato to do that, so I don't think I used this one here, but I always forget to talk about these big brush pens, and I like them a lot. They're really good. And, okay, that's it. So, comments, questions, leave them below. If you like this video, click that thumbs up button, and if you like crafty videos and soapy videos, and you aren't already subscribed to my channel, then click on that subscribe button. And that's it. Thanks for watching, everybody, and check back here for more crafty and soapy videos. Have a great weekend, everyone. Bye.